I think he's inside. I'm gonna check it out.
Burke, wait for backup.
He killed my partner. I'm not waiting.
Listen, Burke, this is L.A., not Canada. We have procedures here. You can't handle this alone.
What's the problem?
Hey, man, what you doing here?
I'm busy. Scram.
I'm gonna teach you a lesson in manners.
I'm gonna get you, man. I'll be back, man.
Like I said, I'm going in.
Burke, Burke!
Welcome back to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Dammecast.
Woo! What episode are we at?
This is episode 8, I believe.
Oh, man.
I think so. We've been putting these out a little bit. Yeah, it is episode 8 because we've been putting them out. We've recorded over the course of 2016 as well. Before we get started in today's review, let's just get on with getting this out of the way. Some of you, we released in like last week. Yes, last week. When you hear this, it's going to be a few weeks ahead. But we released in January finally. This we had been talking about this for a while now.
At least 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years now. And it's funny because some of the episodes you listen to, and obviously the news is old, like the Van Johnson stuff.
Uh-huh.
And we talked about how it was election day in the last episode.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't go with current events so much.
Yeah, we really need to pay closer attention to that. But we thought that we'd be releasing this a little bit earlier than January, and then things kind of fell backwards. But hey, it finally came out. We hope you guys are enjoying it. But also, when I first came up with this concept, I looked online, and this was in the summer, and I was like, oh, sweet. There is not another Jean-Claude Van Damme podcast out there. We're going to be golden.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to address the elephant in the room. After we launched, I went and I searched everything, and sure enough, someone, right after I did a search in the summer, someone released his own Jean-Claude Van Damme podcast called the Jean Pod Van Damme. And I didn't realize how very close it is, and that we obviously are not unique in the naming of the podcast. But, I mean, we're unique enough because we call it the Dammecast.
That's true.
There is that. No intentions of stealing anyone's ideas or anything like that. It's just,
Is
hey,
it two
man.
people?
No, it's one guy, and then he has different types of guests come on. So I listened to a couple of his episodes, and maybe one day, if he's not too pissed off at us and thinking that we stole his idea, great minds think alike, he just got to it first. I'll be openly admit it. He has a absolute recording on the web, but he handles his a little bit differently. So you know what? It's different enough. We can all love Jean-Claude Van Damme, and there's still enough room in this world.
There's plenty of room in the Jean-Claude Van Damme pie for us to stick our fingers into.
Yep, exactly. We love digging our fingers into Van Damme's sweet, sweet pie. So I just want to say no hard feelings or anything like that. No intentions of stealing anyone else's show.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed out when I searched on Google and then that popped up. Like our site actually popped up right away too. So I was pretty happy about that. But I was a little bummed that we aren't the only ones. But you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm not going to be selfish. So this is my way of saying, hey, you know what? There's another one out there. We're not trying to be them. Just so happens we came up with the idea at the same time, it looks like. And he jumped on the ball first. So
He probably can't do the splits like we can, though.
Exactly. Has he been trying? No. I don't know. He might be.
He might be sitting in the splits listening to this right now.
Right, exactly. Getting very angry and practicing his dim mock.
Yelling, no!
So, yes, there are plenty of Van Damme fans out there. As you all know, you're listening to us here. We appreciate it. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about death warrants.
Oh, man.
And, yeah, death warrant.
Where to begin?
rated R for action, crime, and mystery.
And hate speech.
And yes, I totally forgot about the hate speech in this.
I was totally unaware of it because I saw it on TNT.
Yes, yeah, right. I mean, I remember we rented this. I do remember us renting this film. I remember watching it on TBS or TNT as well, but I don't remember the bad words in it.
It must be our white privilege. We just didn't even notice.
Yeah. I would like to say childhood innocence. But,
same thing, really.
I guess it really kind of is the same. Well, let's not lie. So, Death Warrant came out in 1990. It is about a Canadian policeman, Louis Burke. He's assigned to a jail to investigate some murders of prisoners and jailers. When in jail, Burke, using his outstanding martial arts, is able to save his life and make himself respected in the violent world. At last, helped by 2 other prisoners, he succeeds in finding the truth about the dreadful crimes. And let me just say, I totally read this plot summary from a dude whose English is his second language because he comes from Italy, at least compared to his email address and his name. So good at you, Tognacci Sebastiano, for trying to type that in English.
It's better than most people would be able to do.
Yeah. The other guy, Todd, his was just too long. His is a TLDR.
Oh, yeah.
And my TLDR is, hey, I'm a police officer. I tell a lawyer what to do. I go in prison after agreeing because she's so beautiful. I almost die a bunch of times.
And get several other people killed.
Organ transplants, but no one knows how this actually works. And then the Sandman comes back.
Yep.
And the end.
That is that really explains it as well as the movie does.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode. Yeah, wow, man.
Yeah, I feel like the script was written by someone who was in a weird NyQuil fever dream or something. They just woke up and immediately scribbled it down into their dream journal.
Yes, that's exactly it. Because I had fond memories of this as a child. Not so fond as Cyborg or Bloodsport. And I mean, to be completely honest with you, I only watched this one a handful of times as a kid. So really, this is my first time viewing it as an adult and just for the first time going, that actually was not that good of a movie.
It was so bizarre. I could not take my eyes off of it. Normally I take breaks to go on Facebook or something while I'm watching a movie, but this I was just entranced.
You were like, what's going to happen next? I don't even
literally
understand.
No way to guess what will happen next in this film.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to look at the cast of the film.
Excellent cast.
Yeah, man. The director was Darren Sarafian. Writer was David Goyer. And obviously Van Damme plays Louis or Louis Burke, depending on if you're English or French Canadian.
He was a Mountie in this, right?
Yeah, man, he was. He was a Mountie detective. And
an undercover Mountie detective.
Yep, he made his way to Los Angeles. I honestly don't know how that works with the LAPD and the Royal Mounted Canadian Police.
I guess they have a really good relationship. Are they like sister cities?
I guess so. Maybe Quebec and Los Angeles are. Maybe.
Who knows?
Robert Guillaume, who plays Hawkins in this, who's blind in one eye.
Yep, he's the knowledgeable black prison inmate that's in every prison movie.
Yes, that's exactly it. And even though I might have butchered the name is, or the face is one that you probably know. He's been in a lot of stuff, and surprisingly some video game voiceovers as well, like
really?
The Orange Box and Half-Life 2 Episode 1.
Huh.
Kingdom Hearts 2. I had no clue, but well, that makes sense. He played Rafiki in The Lion King. He was Dr. Bennett in Big Fish. He was Riley in 13th Child, if you know that one. A lot of voiceover work, man.
I can believe it.
He was Arthur in Moesha, but that was only one episode.
Like King Arthur?
I think so.
I don't remember that episode.
He plays Rafiki a lot in these.
Well, they do. They had a bunch of, children's direct-to-video
right,
stuff.
Exactly. Usually when it's that, they just get the second-rate cast. They're like...
Well, it's not like he's Robin Williams or anything.
That's true, too. But this guy, he was in The First Kid. He was Wilkes in The First Kid. Lamb Chops, Hanukkah, and Passover Surprise. He played Robert. Jeez, man. These are, he was in Spy Hard.
Oh, man. I unfortunately love that movie. That movie is so bad, but so good at the same time.
Yeah, it is, dude. It is.
It's hard to not like a Leslie Nielsen movie.
Oh, I know, right? He was in the animated The Addams Family. He was
in that?
Mr.
Rafiki?
Corblarb. That was only one episode. He was Rafiki in it, yes. He was in The Meteor Man. He was Jeff's father, Ted Reed. That's awesome.
We should dedicate a podcast to this guy.
I know, seriously. I honestly
check if there are any others.
He's got some amazing, amazing talents. Lean on Me, Dr. Frank Napier.
Oh, wow.
Perry Mason, The Case of the Scandalous Scoundrel. Harlan Wade.
He was in Perry Mason?
Yeah, man. That's absolutely crazy. Like I said, this is a guy's face that you see it and you're like, I know that guy. I've seen him on stuff. And I'm just looking through his filmography and I can't believe it. Like I kind of have placed his face in other things that obviously he is not a part of. But he's 89 years old and he's still pretty much doing work.
Hell
His
yeah.
last film, short video or whatever was from 2013. So good on him.
I wonder if he'll play Rafiki in the, aren't they making a live action Lion King movie?
I think so. Yeah. After
We'll
the
see.
success of,
The Jungle
Beauty
Book.
and the Beast and the Jungle Book and all that. Yeah.
I really liked, Christopher Walken as the, Gigantopithecus in it.
Really? Oh man. I didn't see the Jungle Book live.
It was, the live action one.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really good. He played, King Louis in it and it was really good.
Oh wow. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. Cynthia Glib, she plays our love interest, Amanda Beckett, who's also a lawyer who graduated top of her class.
Yeah, the plot of this movie, I can't wait to get to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, digging into it,
it gets a little
you could
weird.
write a thesis on this.
Yes, yeah. Her latest stuff, her latest filmography is Broadcasting Christmas, Caged No More, Hunter's Cove. You might know her a little bit from Death Warrant.
Oh yeah, I remember her in that.
Oh man.
Was she in a bunch of Hallmark movies?
Yes. Yeah, she actually was in a bunch of Hallmark films.
Figured.
Yeah, looking through her. Oh, she was in Gypsy, the TV movie with Bette Midler. She was in Tales from the Crypt.
What episode?
Yeah, one episode in 1990. She played Lorelei Phelps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch the episode.
She was in Short Circuit too.
Really?
Yes.
She was the love interest in... Oh, I knew I recognized her.
She was in the famed TV series as Holly Laird.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know they made a Fame TV.
I didn't know. I was going to say, oh, no way, she was in Fame. And then I was like, a TV series of Fame? I had no clue. Yeah, the love interest is there. Then we have Art LaFleur, who also has a recognizable face.
Oh, yes.
He was in The Sandlot.
He sure
as
was.
the Babe. He was in Field of Dreams. He was in Cobra.
You name it.
You name it,
He
dude. This
definitely
guy
has a cop face. Like...
Yes. He has 161 films to his credit.
Oh, man. We should have made our podcast about him.
I know. Holy crap.
We would have never ran out of episodes.
The Last Treasure Hunt in 2016, he plays Robert Sinclair, the voice. Let's see here. I was trying to find some of his more recent stuff too, but yeah, no, he is in a movie called Dahmer versus Gacy. What? I need to see this.
Yeah.
Dr. Hess. Ace Ventura, Pet Detective Jr.
Oh, wow. I will have to check that out.
Yep. Yeah. No, right. Go check it out. He was in a lot. He was in Speed Racer, the Wachowski brothers film.
Who did he play
Fuji
in that?
Announcer.
Oh, okay. I'm one of the few people that really like that movie.
I actually have never saw it. I wanted to, but then I think I saw it was like over 2 hours.
It is a Wachowski brothers movie.
Yeah.
Or Wachowski's movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. It is. Yeah. It's a Wachowski siblings movie.
The Wachowski, two people that are siblings.
Yep. Yeah. I had a Matrix moment. I totally forgot.
Glitch in the Matrix.
Yep. Didn't have deja vu though. Patrick Kilpatrick, who played Christian Naylor, a.k.a. the Sandman. He actually looks a lot better now in age.
Yes, without without them like bleaching his eyebrows and
Yeah,
giving him
exactly.
half-shaven head. And
Yes, he was in The Minority Report. He has a lot of credits to his name, too.
yeah, he's a big
146?
character actor.
Wow.
If I recall, he's the only person to. What was he? What are we?
No way. He's in Blackwater with Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren.
Hell yeah!
That's coming out soon.
I love Van Damme for that. He loves giving his
dude,
colleagues work.
Yes, exactly. What were you saying? I'm sorry.
I completely lost track.
He was a character actor.
Oh yeah, who always played a serial killer in every movie he was in.
Yep. 7 Faces of Jack the Ripper. He played Edmund. Hard Right. He played Morgan. Number Runner. Luke Eastman. He was in CSI.
I can
Crime
believe
Scene
that.
Investigation. Burn Notice. Fighter's Chance. The Zombinator. That's awesome.
That movie sounds pretty good.
Yeah, man. I'm surprised that wasn't on Netflix. Nip Tuck Chuck. The Confessional.
Yeah, wow, he's got a lot of TV chops.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he really does. A lot of TV. So, yeah. He was in Under Siege 2 as the mercenary number 2 and Last Man Standing as Finn, the Bruce Willis
Oh,
film.
no shit.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh, man. Douglas Tilsdale, who was played by Joshua John Miller. He was in The Final Girls, The Mao Game, and Queen of the South. That's what he's known for.
Huh.
You might know him as the hacker in Death Warrant.
I know I do.
There are so many people. I'm not going to give any more credits, but here's some names. Just some people that play key roles. The Priest was played, or Priest, it's not The Priest. Priest was played by Abdul Salam Al-Razak, who did a terrific job.
Yes.
And here's one that you told me about that I didn't even recognize, who played Dr. Gottsman, was Armin Shimmerman.
Yep, he played Quark in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I recognized the name when I was looking through the credits. I was like, oh my god, that's him.
Oh, no way, dude. I didn't even notice this. Paulo Toca, who was in Bloodsport, who played Paco.
Oh, wow.
He's in this as well.
What a good friend that Jean-Claude Van Damme is.
Yeah, he plays Perez, actually.
I thought he was, he looked familiar.
Wow, he's been in quite a few things.
He likes to take actors who he hasn't accidentally, smashed the eye socket of and put them in other movies.
Yep. Yeah. So there you have it. There's basically a list of people in the film. Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
You forgot.
I'm sorry. I forgot. Like, the dude who's basically in every 80s action film, Al Long.
The
He's
80s Asian
American actor. The Skullet, if you need any
Skullet
reminder.
and Fu Manchu.
Yep. He was in Die Hard.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Exactly. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. You name it. He was basically in every 80s film.
And he was just pointlessly inserted into this movie with no explanation. Like, the only Asian in this entire prison.
Who just so happens to be a part of the Mexican Latino gang. Because apparently the Asians in Los Angeles, for some odd reason, didn't have their own hookup in prison.
I guess. I mean, you'd think in a Los Angeles prison, there'd be a couple Asians.
Oh yeah, there would be
a couple Asians.
Quite a handful over there that you wouldn't want to mess with either. But yeah, this movie, it opens up and it's basically just running water, and the running water really makes no sense throughout this film. It was like trying to show you that there is just like this. It was trying to make like a metaphor.
Yeah, I was trying to like impart a tone or something,
and it just never worked. So there's running water. The credits are going by
for a very long time.
Yes,
like a good couple minutes.
And then we see it's water draining from a curb into a sewer, basically. I immediately noticed the first scene, like the audio was off balance already. Like the music was too loud. Van Damme trying to talk and whisper into his microphone was too soft. And immediately they explained Van Damme's accent. That was the one good thing about this film, is like the guy, a police officer says something along the lines of, "Burke, this isn't Canada. This is Los Angeles." And he's like, "I'm going in alone."
They got some gritty, tough cops. Tough as nails over there in Canada.
Yeah, man. So he enters that building, and before he does that, he basically beats up some gang guys.
Yeah, he beats up a gang real quick.
mug him, and he's just like, no. And the last dude's like, I'll get you later. And runs away. So he goes into the scary apartment building complex that's run down, but still probably costs $1,200 a month.
Does the Sandman own that building?
I think so,
is
man.
He a slumlord?
He's a slumlord. Yeah.
I knew it. Is that what they were arresting him for?
I think so, actually. Finally, just too much. He was way overcharging.
I can believe it. He never repaired that elevator, and then that one toilet it hadn't flushed in a month.
Right, exactly. And then there was a baby doll that was scary and creepy, and it was actually a lot scarier than Sandman himself. And Van Damme opens the door of this closet, and then Sandman comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and
doesn't he smash through a wall or?
Kinda, yeah. It's really weird.
He goes all Kool-Aid Man. They do weird camera shots to where you can't really tell.
Yeah, what's going on, and then he throws Van Damme, and Van Damme smashes through like a crib.
Yeah,
and so it's really
he goes
weird.
Flying too.
Yeah. He shows him that he's not one to deal with on the regular.
That's
because
right.
he's of his super strength.
He has that crazy strong strength.
But that's what I noticed too. The lines in this movie already were ridiculous.
Oh man, and I don't know if more of the normal dialogue didn't seem that bad, but whenever any line was ridiculously over the top, it's like they wanted it to be delivered in the most terrible way possible.
Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, you know what? I want you to think how you would deliver this line and then do the exact opposite of it.
I think they just had a cue card that they held up at the moment.
Right, yeah, exactly. While he's kind of out of breath
It
doing
was
the
like some
choreography. They're like, line.
Some sort of new dynamic acting method that they experimented with.
So, yeah, Van Damme gets sliced, but then he pretty much puts a whole clip into Sandman.
Uh-huh.
And the bullets fly out of his back. That's how powerful this gun is. And somehow, spoiler alert, Sandman lives.
Yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, he was shot 6 times. All the bullets went through his stomach and chest and midsection.
Yep. The man obviously does not have a normal digestive tract. So
it's all that sand he's been eating.
Exactly. And he actually was in a sequel to this called Spider-Man.
Wasn't very good either.
No. Yeah, he
had great dance choreography though.
Oh, of course. So it's 16 months later. For whatever reason, Van Damme shows up in the LAPD office again.
Great mood.
Great mood, great suit.
He's hugging people.
All the people love him. It was the exact what you would expect every time a Canadian comes to the States. We're just overly friendly. We love the Canadians, and
we adore them.
We just it was a little much, but people love Van Damme. So we find out that they want to send JCVD undercover to jail to figure out why this series of killings is happening, with basically this puncture hole happening in the back of people's heads, and then they're dead. And they want to know what's going on. Even the
everybody
warden,
wanted to know what's going on.
It was the warden or the assistant warden ended up dying too, so it was kind of weird. And the governor wanted this, so the attorney general was talking with Van Damme because if you want to investigate, you got to get someone from Canada, from Quebec, to come in.
Who likely doesn't have much in the way of undercover experience.
Right, exactly. Except, they just called him a detective. They're just like, hey, you're a detective. You
kind
can
of
do
a
this.
jack of all trades, right? Those Mounties. Another thing, his partner got killed, apparently, by the Sandman, right? You talked about
yeah.
And then they just kind of brushed it aside. He didn't seem that upset about it.
Right, exactly. It made no sense. The beginning of this film. Why is he tracking the Sandman? Oh, yeah, he
killed his
tracked
partner.
him from all the way in Quebec. And,
it was his new partner, but still.
I love that the Sandman, too, he apparently comes from Canada, but he has no Canadian accent whatsoever.
Watched a lot of TV growing up.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And they tell Van Damme, we'll put you in under armed robbery. They respect violence. And immediately we already see Van Damme's love interest in this too, across the table. And she's a young lawyer. And he basically tells her when they're leaving that she doesn't have enough experience. She's been out of law school for a year. She's been working with someone who has a ton of experience, the attorney general, who's been taking care of her forever, and a detective from Canada tells a lawyer from Los Angeles that she does not have enough experience, because we all know that Canadian detectives have more education than American lawyers.
True.
Especially in California, who has one of the hardest bar passing rates ever. But anyway,
were you offended by that?
No, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I was just like,
are you like those people that they're like meteorologists that scoff at Twister when they watch it?
No, I really enjoyed this for the ridiculousness of it, because
hell yeah.
I mean, once I realized that Van Damme basically tells a lawyer that she doesn't have enough experience, even though she has like this gigantic background, and he doesn't know what she did while she was in law school.
And she was top of her class.
Top of her class.
They knew that.
Yeah, I can understand if it was along the lines of like, I think what they were trying to do is basically say like, you don't have enough experience of knowing what goes on with going undercover. I would definitely say, yeah, you're right there, but lawyers really don't do this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the script was originally written for a rookie cop.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what it sounds a little bit more like. And I think the thing as well with this is the fact that they had to get the LAPD involved, and Van Damme, who doesn't have any ties to the American criminal justice system. And so that was a little weird as well, to be like, hey, we want you to go undercover. They're like, no one knows who you are. Like, I understood what they were trying to do, but it was still a little goofy. Not to get too in-depth about a Van Damme film. I mean, we're a podcast that talks about the love for Van Damme.
It's, this one will definitely be treating with, a scientific eye, I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just so much.
There's just so much with the story that really makes
this movie made
no
less sense than Time Cop. It made less sense
Yeah.
than Cyborg. It
and
made less
Black
sense than
Eagle.
Cyborg. Yeah, it made less sense than Black Eagle.
Like, I'll tell you what, as a child, my memories of this film was, oh yeah, he's going into prison to fight Sandman.
Yeah.
Like he's going to go undercover and bust Sandman for basically killing a bunch of people in prison.
Which would have made a hell of a lot more sense.
And that's not the case at all. Not the case at all.
No,
and,
I thought that was what the movie was about too when I was watching it. And then I was just kind of like, I thought that the Sandman was involved somehow. And then, we'll find out together.
Right. Yeah. So right away we find out prison is a little weird here. Basically, it is an 80s prison.
Yeah.
Where I want to know like where they filmed this at, and hopefully the trivia will tell us, because I mean it was a good prison setup.
Yeah.
But like all the dudes just are doing whatever they feel like. The guards don't care.
There's sections of the prison that the guards don't go to.
Yeah, there's sections of the prison that even the guards don't go to.
That's scary there.
Yep. I do not want to ever go to LAPD or Los Angeles prison. One of the things too that I noticed right away was the fact that there was nude posters all over the jail cells, especially like right when Van Damme walks up. There's just like this black and white poster of a chick and her boobs hanging out. And I totally, obviously, don't remember that as a child.
No.
And
I wonder if they were reshot.
Yeah, I was thinking, did you just blur it out
Yeah.
on TNT? I don't know how that happened. Or maybe they just cut it.
Be hard to do in a cell because it's like literally wall to wall.
Right, exactly. It's all film filled with pornography, like old magazines. For all the young people out there that might be listening, magazines were this bigger booklet that you looked through.
It had pictures that were static. You couldn't just refresh them.
Nope. Yeah, if you wanted to right-click Save As, that meant you just tore the page out, folded it up, and put it in your pocket.
It was a simpler time.
A simpler time, yep. And then he meets a cellmate who basically tells him to either pay or punk. And Van Damme responds
That happened
back.
with my roommate, actually.
Oh, man. Did you pay or punk, or did you do the same thing as Van Damme?
We'll reveal that later.
Nice. That's an After Dark episode. So, yeah, Van Damme basically grabs his wrist after the dude tries to, he puts a knife up to Van Damme.
It was a plastic knife.
Yeah.
It was a plastic butter knife.
Yeah. And then Van Damme grabs his wrist and totally makes him drop it.
It was funny because, the guy, he's, a good 50 pounds lighter than
I
Van
know.
Damme.
That's the thing, too.
It's a scrawny guy in a leather vest.
Scrawny dude, yeah. Leather vest. He came right after Lionheart after... Lionheart punched him in the junk, and then that's the sequel right there.
Yep.
The vest fighter ends up in jail. But yeah, Van Damme says, "I don't pay I don't punk. And the guy's like, ha, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just, it's a joke.
No need to have a hairball.
Yep. And so he says he offers Van Damme the top bunk. Van Damme wants the bottom. He gives that to Van Damme.
And a friendship was struck.
And then we meet Hawkins. Hawkins basically gives Van Damme his suit, his jailhouse kicks and everything, his towel.
His character is nothing like Morgan Freeman's character in The Shawshank Redemption.
Nope.
It's nothing like the wise black prison inmate character in Escape from Alcatraz.
Yeah. Burke's number is 27689.
That's important. Write that down.
Write that down. That's very important. Basically, he meets Hawkins. He tries talking to him in the food line. Some guy, some Mexican gang member is like telling Hawkins he's gonna kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He drops the M-bomb. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was oh.
I didn't expect that.
That happens a lot in prison movies.
Yeah.
Even to this day, like The Longest Yard. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah. And you're like, wait, what? What just happened?
Stone Cold Steve Austin's going off script with this one.
I was like, oh no, Stone Cold, please. Yeah, Van Damme basically saves Hawkins and starts this kind of fight where the officers had to break it up. And we end up seeing Art LaFleur come back, and he's just kind of like, oh, hey, and he drops the M-bomb and then basically tells Van Damme that he's going to die in this prison if he keeps doing what he's doing. But before all that started happening, one key moment, which I forgot about because I didn't think it made any sense in this film.
Which just rolls off your back when you're watching it.
Exactly. It was Van Damme's in medical with all the rest of the soldiers. Soldiers, prisoners, whatever. With the rest of the prisoners, and the doctor notes, he's like, AB negative. Oh, you got a very rare blood type. And then just walks off.
Yeah, and he's like, any communicable diseases? He's like, not yet.
Not yet.
The guy
he's like, what's
gives
that?
him a dirty, Pay attention to that. That'll come into play later.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely.
The rest of the nonsense you can just ignore.
You're right, yeah. And Van Damme goes to sit down at the table with Hawkins and the rest of the...
like 25 black people.
Yep, the rest of the black guys sitting at the table. Hawkins is like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, you're not black. Sit with your own skin color here in jail. Van Damme's like, dude, I'm from Canada. We don't have this problem here.
They don't have black people in Canada?
No, everyone's just very like friendly and non-prejudicial there. So
it must be nice over there.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Kinda
Actually,
cold, though.
I really have heard that Canadian jails are nothing to talk about because they are kind of scary.
Yeah, I saw a special on Lockup on MSNBC about a Canadian prison, and it's pretty. It's the same fare. When it's a maximum security prison, you're going to get the same rank and file.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing to poke fun at over there, too. Shitty people are shitty no matter what country they're in.
Mm-hmm.
But Van Damme sits down at this table with what looks like one white dude and what looks like a dude that, like,
he
not so white.
He looked like he might have been like half Samoan.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, he kind of looked like he was half Samoan, maybe. And they did a terrific job of showing their tattoos, which looked like someone just took Sharpie and wrote on the side of his head.
This is like something out of like Ernest Goes to Jail or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Had that caliber of prison inmates in this movie.
These are the people that he killed. And it's just like a bunch of random, like the letter or the writing is all different on each person. So, like, I don't know if he had the people write their name on his head.
Like a scrapbooking thing?
Yeah, like tattoo your name on my head before I kill you.
Very polite.
But yep. And so that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden his cellmate is really good buddies with him and he wants him to drink his toilet wine.
I saw a thingy on how to make toilet wine.
Did you?
Yeah, it looked disgusting.
Oh, dude.
And it costs more to make than
just
buying cheap whiskey that's less disgusting.
Yeah, that's no thanks. No thanks at all.
It is actually called Bruno, though.
Yeah.
To this day,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Bruno. Yeah, and it looks basically like prune juice.
Yeah,
really. Which, I mean, I think that's exactly I would gag too. I don't know what I gag more on.
Yeah. Ugh. Man, one time I had Japanese plum wine. I was like, wow, that sounds really fancy and elegant.
Yeah.
It's fermented prune juice. I didn't make the connection in my head.
You poor bastard. Nope.
My stomach, yeah.
Yeah, your stomach felt it, I bet. So Van Damme's supposedly wife shows up, who is the lawyer. She's up
dressed like a lawyer.
She's dressed like a lawyer, and he's like, "You're trying to get me killed. You're supposed to be my wife." And she's like, "Oops, sorry." And he's like,
I'm not really the best choice for this assignment.
And then he's like, "That's where your experience is supposed to come into play, you jerk." So he pretty much tells her, like, "Hey, you gotta get me real cash in here. You can't just put stuff in my commissary. It's like I gotta get real money. I can't do this account bullshit." So she's like, "We'll try to find a way."
I can't believe how unprepared everyone was at this assignment from top to bottom.
Right, I know, exactly. Seriously, that.
And then the whole time they weren't acting like a husband and a wife, and they were not checking for bugs. Normally conversations like that are recorded.
Right. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah.
There's a guard standing within 10 feet. And they never even held hands or acted like a man and a wife or anything like that.
No, not at all. It was really, really weird. And, she goes
I've seen marriages like that. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But this was just a little too weird. I noted when she was back at the Attorney General's house, I was like, the good old days when lawyers could make money. Because he just had maids and butlers around and people giving him iced tea, and I'm just like, you don't really see that nowadays. Then we end up seeing Van Damme having to fight the Mexican guy again who wanted to kill him, but he brings in his buddy Bruce, who is our favorite diehard candy bar loving guy, Al Luong, and he gets his butt kicked.
And, it was a good fight, though.
Yeah, we got one Van Damme grunt out of that. Actually.
And several spin kicks.
Several spinning back
they
kicks.
They traded
man.
spin. Yeah, they were trading back kicks.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
He throws more back kicks than punches in this film.
Yes, he really does. That was a nice use of the washing machine. I really don't even know if he's thrown any punches in the film.
Yeah,
it seemed like
I don't
it was
really
all
remember
kicks.
him throwing punches. Yeah, it was mainly standing 6 feet behind the guy and then doing a back kick.
Yeah, and so then later on, Van Damme's reading, and his bunk buddy makes some joke about how his reading are in the filthy magazines and the penthouse letters. Van Damme pulls out a wad of cash that was in the book, and in the hardcore or on the hardcover, slipped in. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to bring money in. And that's where
I think they stole that from Midnight Express.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was in Midnight Express.
Oh, no way.
It was sealed in with the hardcover of the
photo
album.
Well, now it's not smart.
There's actually a couple elements that are stolen from Midnight Express.
That's awesome, man.
Well, possibly. Inspired by...
Coincidental. Yeah. Yep. Just like our podcast with the
other... A coincidental podcast.
So then they go into the creepy part of prison, which are filled with ladyboys galore. I guess.
Oh yeah, that's the part that the guards don't go to because it's full of transsexuals and sheets hung up.
Transvestites and transsexuals. Where Priest is at, and Priest is talking on a cell phone. Has some of the longest maintainable fingernails.
Yeah, some big old sharp-looking coke nails.
Yep, that he could kill you with if he really wanted to. But
his character, he had great stage presence, screen presence.
Oh yeah,
very creepy.
For the second, he was my favorite character in this so far. Up to this point, I was like, this guy is amazing. And he had the same kind of similarly creepy eyes like Fenders and Cyborg.
Except they were a yellowish cat's eye color.
They were exactly like cat's eye color instead of the blue. And then it cuts to Van Damme basically mopping the floor in the medical room, and he knocks over medical waste, which is basically just a lot of blood.
Yeah.
And then you see the whole cart are these medical waste things. He's like, what is this?
They look like little gas cans or something.
Yeah,
it was not at all blood containers.
No, and the doctor's just like, medical waste. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then Van Damme basically questions the pharmacist in the area, and then threatens to make him drink pee. He's like,
which is
you're
gross.
going to drink the soda pop.
Ew.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
This movie had a lot of gritty detective work. It actually had a lot of noirish elements to it.
Yeah, it really did.
He was hard boiled in a system that's corrupt from the top, and he doesn't know who to trust.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was really it's what could have been that would have made this film.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, everything else.
It was a lot of random flavors thrown together into a pot.
Yep. And then it switches over to some sexy music playing,
Hell
but
yeah.
not so sexy eating of pizza. And Van Damme gets a little hot and bothered by the music. He's using Priest's cell phone, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And the sexy music's playing. He's expecting some like dirty talk, and she's like, "I'm just eating dinner." And then he's like, "I got to go."
I have to go do something.
Yep. So that's how that happens.
Yeah, all the romantic elements in this movie are really bizarre and like
Really
awkward,
yep.
uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, very much so, and so much so like it moves on. It's so awkward. It just cuts, and then Hawkins is pushing a basket full of laundry. The guardsman, uses his nightstick to poke through it. How the hell did he not hit Van Damme in that basket?
He must have done the splits at the exact moment the stick was going to poke his
leg. Yep, because there was no splits in this film at all.
Yeah, the weirdest part about this movie, zero splits. And no headbutts either.
No headbutts either. Nope.
Like there was a moment I was like, oh, he's going to headbutt. He's like, what?
No headbutts. No headbutts at all. Van Damme didn't do really any signature. We only got one grunt, and that was it. Like
he did scream.
He screamed.
Yeah, he screamed. There was more screaming from the Sandman, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, and he got beat up, but like I don't count like Van Damme's grunts getting beat up as grunts. It's usually when he's just doing his own like I'm punching and grunting.
There is a scene where he gets chained up again. I've noticed that happens a lot in his movies. Yep. He gets chained up either through a training process or through being tortured.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. But so Van Damme skips through. They put a bottle of Bruno, like a gallon-sized jug of it, so that the night guard can catch that and be like, "What's this?" And he's like, "I've actually never tried it. Is it good?" And so Hawkins is talking with them about it.
The most the shittiest way to bribe a guard I could think of. Like, hey, you want to try a toilet wine? I mean, you could just walk to a store and buy actual liquor, but
right, exactly. And so he immediately spits it out. Van Damme goes looking in the storage unit with all the folders to find out more about the latest inmate that died, which we kind of neglected to mention because it was kind of just stupid. So he finds his folder and he finds like they basically have like some codes next to his name and says something's fishy. So he remembers that. But when he goes to close the cabinet door, he closes it like on his arm, cuts his arm.
Makes a huge squeaking noise.
Makes a gigantic squeaking noise. And the guard is like, "What's that?" And so the guard goes into the room. Van Damme somehow climbed up onto the ventilation ductwork shaft.
Without making more noise than he would have from shutting the
Exactly. And the blood drips down from his arm onto the table, but Hawkins, being so observant, moves the coffee cup over the blood spot so that the guard won't notice. They walk out of the room, and we don't know how Van Damme gets away because obviously
he's locked.
Hawkins, he gets locked in.
They leave the room with the light on.
And they leave the room with the light on, too. I was like, well, what is this? We're not wasting electricity here.
How did he get in when the door was locked? Did he like sneak in through the vent?
No, I think
was
he
there a way
like
that they showed?
Lockpicked it or something.
Okay. Those crafty Mounties, man.
I know, man. I know.
It's not just about riding a moose to work every day.
Right, exactly. Like you would think, but they know what they're doing, that's for sure.
It's true.
So we find out that the victims were all brand new inmates, not related to any gangs, basically no diseases, really healthy. And so we're like, oh, this is weird. Van Damme lets his lady know that he has a hacker, but not to tell anyone about it. The hacker is my favorite character in this. I thought Priest was going to be my favorite character because he was just over the top. No, the hacker is absolutely amazing. He's basically like a 17-year-old boy, and he looks like an 80s hacker would look like.
Yeah, he's like the apotheosis of the nerd computer whiz character from every 1980s movie.
Yes, exactly.
Just rolled into one.
He calls himself a computer cowboy. I loved that.
It's what I picture like Redditors these days as.
Yep.
Anonymous.
He was your typical Redditor. Yep, totally. If Reddit was a thing back in the 80s, that's your guy.
Slap a fedora on him, and he is just no offense, by the way.
Oh yeah, none taken. None taken.
He just tipped his fedora at me.
I did. I was like, my Jeff,
my Jeffrey.
I noticed though too, she loves listening to sexy music.
She does.
I mean, if I was a hacker and I came over and this lady was listening to sexy music, she had her blouse kind of unbuttoned.
And all the lights are in
and
like,
the lights
lighting.
are dimmed, and she's talking with me, I totally would get the missed vibes too. Like I would totally be trying to hit on her as well, thinking that something was going to happen, especially if I was a 17-year-old kid.
No shit.
I mean, he does not pull anything nonchalantly. She
he's
bends
pretty
over,
self-confident.
Yeah, she bends over and looks at his work, and he just starts staring down her blouse, and she realizes it, and she's like, I'm not. I could not stop laughing at all this.
This is probably my favorite scene in the movie.
So then we find out that the password is Morpheus, the Greek god of sleep, which makes sense because the initials or whatever ended up forming sleep. And so that was their way up, Sandman.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense.
Does not make any sense whatsoever.
It could have made sense.
So we found out that there's a hit list. This is what it was all about, the files. And someone is working with the guards, and Burke's number is next on this hit list. So Burke ends up finding this out, and then one of Priest's lady friends, she ends up telling Burke not to sleep at night. His cellmate basically gets that piano wire wrapped around his neck. They try stabbing Van Damme with an ice pick, but it's a dummy or, blankets, basically. Van Damme slides out from underneath his bed and kicks the crap out of the white guy and the half Samoan who are the killers.
Which, kind of confusing because you would have thought, I think the way the script was originally written, they were going to intend for the Sandman to be the killer that they used.
Yeah, I don't know. Little weird. And then basically his cellmate dies. The transgendered lady dies.
With an ice pick.
The pharmacist dies getting set on fire.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome. There's a lot of human immolation in Jean-Claude Van Damme's work, too.
Yeah, it was, oh, man. Whew.
Probably stank, too.
So Van Damme basically gets blamed for his cellmate's death and thrown into solitary confinement. Something happens to his clothes along the way. I have no clue what happens.
They said strip him.
He ended up being nude. We get a side shot of Van Damme nude, not a full ass shot, but
it was nice though. It was tasteful.
It was very tasteful.
It was enough for a movie back then.
Yep. Van Damme, basically his quote unquote wife comes back, the lawyer, she comes in, and they have to do a strip search on her to make sure she's not doing anything. Which is also an
extremely uncomfortable scene to watch.
Yep, very uncomfortable. And the guard who did the job did a terrific job with acting as a pervert.
Both of them did. They're just you could hear the heavy breathing and
it was creepy. And then they set him up for a conjugal visit.
Yeah,
I had no clue that this was a thing.
All right, you're out of the hole. It's time for your conjugal visit.
Yep. So they go into the trailer. And, you would think that they would be talking business, but Van Damme's just oh, hey, I'm going to be talking about how sexy you are. And so things happen. And the best thing that I noticed from this was that this trailer actually had hand towels. I was like, what the hell is this all about?
It was also a very bizarre and awkward scene.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So then Hawkins and Priest have to decide to, do this explosion to lead guards away so that Van Damme can break into the medical unit and see what's going on. Mm-hmm. He uses a bone saw to cut chains off of the refrigerator, which we know actually would not work whatsoever. It was actually not really even a bone saw. It was kind of like one of those cast saws where it will cut the plaster of your cast, but it will not cut your skin. So somehow this cuts through metal. And
how do you know that chain wasn't made of human skin?
Well, because if it was, then it wouldn't have cut the
skin.
Oh,
you're right.
So
damn it, it would have to have been made of cast material.
It was. That's what I think it was. And they open up the fridge to find a heart in a plastic bag. Makes no sense whatsoever. If we know anything about organ transplants, and I'm no medical doctor whatsoever, but basically everything that I watched on TV.
Yeah, you got to get it out right away.
Yeah. Before TLC went really crazy with the reality TV stuff. When you would learn about organ transplants there.
And not the daily lives of circus folk.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, or my big fat gypsy wedding, or 600 pounds and loving it.
Those ones, not that one, but the ones where the people that have diets where they weigh like 700 plus pounds, they're trying to lose it. Those ones I like.
Oh, those ones are that.
I eat a bunch of food while I watch
entertaining.
it. Yeah,
it is. But Van Damme comes up with a great one-liner. He tells Hawkins to watch your eye, which I don't know if we made mention, but Hawkins is blind in one eye because he got stabbed in the eye.
Yeah, just like when Kurt Russell lost his eye to a shark attack in Captain Ron.
Yep. Yeah, he he lost his eye, so there was that.
I like how they were like, he's like, you got stabbed in the eye?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you couldn't believe it. He was like, you got stabbed in the eye? And his eyeball is like totally perfect.
Yeah, it just has
blind.
It's just blue. Yeah.
It just looks like he has a bad case of cataracts in the eye. We find out that the Sandman is alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no.
Something that Jean-Claude Van Damme should have kept track of.
Yes.
In the 16-month interim.
You would kind of think so. Exactly. In that 16-month interim. You're right. Then we see the water again. What's this supposed to represent? I don't know.
The water represents sand.
Oh, okay. Yep. Move through an hourglass. But yeah. So
it's a 4-stage metaphor.
Yeah, we got some Days of Our Lives shit going on here. Van Damme once again gets chained up. Sandman basically cuts Van Damme's scar that he got from Sandman, which is really gross.
Yeah.
Then he hits a beautiful one-liner here.
Oh, yes.
Bring me a dream, Burke. Bring me a dream.
Oh, the delivery is so good, too.
Yeah.
It's funny because like the rest of the acting wasn't
it wasn't
that bad.
Actually, it wasn't. Like, you have a legitimate, like, decent character actors in here.
And the dialogue was, he was screaming about how he hates cops and how they'll tear him apart. And it was, it was menacing for an 80s movie. And then, bring me a dream, Burke.
Yep. Then you get that. That kind of.
Well, by the way, he's a Sandman.
Yep. Oh, it's a Sandman. All right, let him down. And then Mike walks away. And there was a nice BMW convertible driven by the lady. She goes up to try to tell the Attorney General what they found out. And then the movie goes to shit.
Yep.
She tells him she like doesn't want anything to do with the other attorney or whoever it was. Tells the AG.
He was the assistant, wasn't he? Like
the assistant.
Yeah. Or no, he was the warden or something. I can't remember.
No, I think he was the assistant to the gubernatorial or like.
Oh, yeah.
So like the governor assistant. He's like, I don't want anything to do with you. And then the attorney basically lets her know, that he's been in on it and that his wife needed to deliver, and no matter what, he couldn't pay anything. But these people are scum anyway, so what's it matter? They're bugs. Let's do some underground, black market organ transfer.
South American surgeon that they brought in.
You're right, yeah, who had plenty of malpractice suits. So my question is, why the hell would you investigate this matter if you're in on it?
Why would you send someone who's like a hard-boiled detective who would stop at nothing to crack
exactly.
it, instead of some like green as grass rookie?
I was going to say, you send in a stupid rookie who thinks he's going to solve it, accidentally tells someone he's a cop, and then gets killed.
Or just pay someone to be in on it.
Right, exactly.
Well, okay, but at this point
I don't know.
we're going through the rabbit hole.
This is where it just kind of like really... I don't know. I did not expect.
I guess he was the main villain of the movie, and then
I guess so.
The resolution was just such a flat note.
Yeah,
where he's gonna shoot her to cover it up, but everyone would have heard the gunshot at this dinner party with attorney generals and whatnot.
Yeah, and luckily his wife is there. She opens up, and then she like tells him, tell your wife what you're doing.
Yeah, and then he's just like,
and so like we have no clue if he got thrown in prison
or kept it covered up, or just had a big shouting match with his wife that everyone pretended to ignore.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on.
And then that's how the big mystery of the movie is resolved.
Right.
And then we have another 25 minutes.
Yeah, there's still 25 minutes of the movie left. And so Van Damme sets up this electrocution device using his radio, sets it to the bars. The creepy guard comes up to him. Van Damme says shit to him, which, if prison guards hear this shit all the time from prisoners. Yeah. So they just shrug it off, but Van Damme, whatever, gets under people's skin.
He does.
He grabs the bars and gets electrocuted.
Which is another big no-no in prison.
Yeah, man. And he grabs the keys from him. And then I thought Van Damme was releasing the prisoners, but then it switches over because like Van Damme gets out of his cell, runs, and then it cuts and it shows like the emergency release.
Yeah.
And so like you think of Van Damme, and I'm like, why is Van Damme doing this? And it cuts. Nope, it's the Sandman doing it somehow.
Which is really confusing because it looked like Van Damme doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what is he like creating a?
That's what I thought. I'm like, is he creating a diversion? Oh, nope. And the Sandman was brought to that prison because of the AG. Because like no one else could get the job done. So here comes Sandman. So that's the whole reason why Sandman was there. Makes no fucking sense.
Who's been in the movie for 5 minutes total up until the point that he was brought back.
Yep. And we ended up getting a... he runs into the original prisoners who are with the guards. He kicks the blonde dude with the mustache in the face a couple times. The edit job on it is hilarious.
It's so bad.
Oh, it's really bad.
The worst, like worse than any of the movies that we've reviewed so far.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah. He gets kneed to the groin. Actually, Van Damme gets kneed to the groin,
which I think was the only groin.
That's the only groin attack in the film. The prisoners say they're going to perform surgery on the dock out of nowhere. After the prisoners find out that Van Damme's a cop, because Sandman tells everyone, they don't care. They want to kill everyone. So they decide to say, we're going to perform surgery on the doctor.
Did they become aware that the doctor was partially behind the murders? Or
I have no clue. It made no sense. Hawkins gets shot, unfortunately. So you're thinking, oh no, he's going to die. And then Art LaFleur is like going to just shoot him in the head. But Priest comes out of nowhere, saves Hawkins' ass. And shoots LaFleur like right through the chest. That was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And you get another great one-liner here is you make a deal with the priest. It's for keys. And Sandman actually breaks that deal with the priest by putting a fire axe.
Pointy end
first right into his like sternum. So
from like upside down.
Upside down too, yeah, like a pendulum, man. Like just nails him.
Swung it right into him. He's a strong guy, that Sandman.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
strength of sand.
R.I.P. Priest.
Yeah, and then I would have thought that Jean-Claude Van Damme might have like used the axe after that to defend himself.
Right, exactly. You would think, nope, because then here comes this giant old plumber's wrench that like just hits Van Damme square like right in the face, and I mean, ow.
Yeah, he took some hard bumps in this.
He did, man. He took some hard bumps.
He got thrown off of the platform and like where were they? Like the boiler room or something?
Yeah, they were in the boiler room of the prison because that's how they had to make it out to the courtyard. Didn't get that far.
And then, he's thrown off a platform, falls like 30 feet onto a metal grating.
Yeah, on a metal grating, but he's still okay. And then what the fuck is the Sandman wearing a cop's jacket for?
Yeah, with like the...
Doesn't make any sense with a badge. I don't get it. They never say anything about that. There's no one-liner there.
Might have been cold.
I never understand the double hand smash too. Like when you grab both hands and then you come swinging down on someone.
It doubles the strength.
Oh, okay.
It actually exponentially increases the strength, and it doesn't break your fingers.
That's the only thing that I could think of. But like you have the flat part of your hand doing it though. Like at least in the way of
how does that work?
I don't think it works that well. I don't know. I mean, if you do an overhand on someone's back, okay, I understand it.
Then you'd be likely to break your fingers.
Yeah,
unless you're
well, yeah, exactly. Your pinky,
if they're interlaced.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I really don't.
Well,
know.
It worked in Dragon Ball Z, so I'm not going to question it.
I shouldn't have questioned it. Right.
Yeah, this fight scene.
So I have to say that Sandman loves to see Van Damme shirtless because this is like the second time he rips Van Damme's shirt off. And he opens up the boiler.
This is probably
in front of it.
Yeah, probably his biggest mistake.
And says, "Welcome to hell."
And it's his flair for the theatric that's his fatal flaw.
Yep.
Really.
And Van Damme
just like, he's standing in front of a grate he could trip on into a furnace.
Yep. And Van Damme just kicks him right into it. He kicks him right in there.
By this point, every inmate in the prison has surrounded them and are all watching and cheering them on.
Right. Exactly. And
like a Street Fighter 2 level or something.
Right, exactly. But wait, there's more. Don't turn your back, Burke, because Sandman comes out and he's on fire and he gets himself all doused out, stands up. Van Damme kicks him again, and his head goes into the bolts.
Like Yeah,
like
a
5
4-inch,
foot,
a 4-inch bolt, like just sticking out of a girder.
Yeah.
Penetrates the back of his skull, and he's just like pinned to it, which is another motif in Jean-Claude Van Damme movies: people being impaled onto walls.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is another thing that was borrowed from Midnight Express.
Oh, really?
The antagonist in that had the back of his neck impaled by a coat hook on the wall.
Ouch. Ouch.
Which was also extremely gruesome and graphic.
Yep, and basically Sandman tells him, like with no slur or anything, you can't kill the Sandman. And then Van Damme grabs him by the jaw and
like wiggles his head. Scrambles his brains.
And it was like, what happened there? Was it like, because they almost made like a snapping neck sound.
Like I'm guessing he scrambled his brains.
Is that it? Did you break his trachea? Like, what's his
He
jaw?
made a really weird face, so I'm assuming it was something involving the spine or brain.
Yeah.
It's just like,
it had to have.
I'm no doctor.
And if you didn't know this, once you kill the Sandman, no one else in prison wants to kill you, even though you're a cop.
They respect you after that. Even though, everybody, when he showed up, they were treating him like he was this huge celebrity and oh, he's the man, but in prisons in real life, serial killers are normally have to be kept in segregation because people, try to kill them.
Right, exactly.
Like mass murderers and serial killers are all treated with contempt there.
Right, exactly. Your total confinement. So this was a little weird. I think the real love story, though, is between Burke and Hawkins. Throughout the movie, Burke is wanting Hawkins' love. Hawkins won't give it to him up until the end. And Burke carries him down a flight of stairs, saves him, puts him on a gurney, and he's going off to the hospital because... And he tells the paramedics, basically, be nice to this guy because he saved my life. Because, paramedics listen to a guy that's a prisoner because they have no clue that he's undercover.
Well, he was a very large, muscly prisoner.
Yeah, that's true.
You got it, prisoner.
Yep, you got it, sir. And Van Damme gets the kiss from the girl, and they walk off, and that's the ending. So that's Death Warrant.
This film.
Whew.
This film it might be one of the favorites that I've watched so far. It was just so entertaining. Another thing that is really fun to dissect what the people were thinking as it was made, what during the production process went wrong.
Exactly.
How many scripts were involved in this that were just mashed together.
Yeah, seriously.
There's so many ways you could just easily streamline the plot of the film, have the Sandman be the killer that's ice picking people.
Right. It makes sense.
It would have made more sense. It wouldn't have made much sense, but it would have made more sense.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. The acting saved it though. There's some good acting besides the Sandman.
It had a good cast of quality players with good acting chops.
Right. Exactly. And I didn't expect to spend this much time on this film. I'm looking at the time on here.
It's a lot to dissect.
It is. It was filmed before Lionheart, despite being released after.
Which makes sense.
Yep. Written and filmed as Dusted by Cannon Pictures, who financed the picture. Shortly after its completion, Cannon went bust, and MGM, who took over the remaining pictures, renamed the film Death Warrant.
Obviously.
However, the old Australian VHS tape came with the Cannon logo at the start, and some international trailers credit Cannon as the studios behind the picture. Huh. There you go. It used to be called Dusted,
which I guess makes more sense.
Yeah.
Dust and sand.
Speaking of, there was no titular lines at all either. There was no Death Warrant. There was no Dusted.
No, there was there wasn't even anything that referenced anything resembling a death warrant except for at the very end when it's revealed that he's a cop.
Right, yeah, exactly. According to French magazine, interviews with Jean-Claude Van Damme at the time, he was in competition with Steven Seagal to star in the film.
Oh man, that would have been really good too.
Wow.
This did have a lot of it really did remind me of a Steven Seagal movie.
Film. Yeah, definitely. Director Don Siegel may have been briefly attached to direct. And that's all the trivia for this.
Good. We can just fill in the blanks on our own.
Right. Exactly.
It's just the elements that they combine in this movie, because it has those noirish, gritty crime drama elements. It has prison, Shawshank Redemption elements where he's befriending people in prison and giving them hope.
Right, yeah.
It has horror movie elements in two scenes.
The killer just keeps coming back.
Yeah, and the Sandman, and then the horror movie elements of this ice pick killer, which is suspense thriller horror.
Right, yeah.
And then there's back kicks left and right.
Yeah, Yeah.
It's just it's such like it's just such a bizarre combination of elements.
It really is. It really is. Quotes from this, there's not too many quotes, unfortunately. And the ones that I already pretty much quoted, actually. All of them I pretty much quoted except for one. I need to go on the IMDb page and add more quotes.
Yes.
Because it's still a quotable movie.
It's an unappreciated gem.
So the only quote that I didn't already tell you guys is, "Kiss your black ass goodbye. Go fuck yourself, you pudgy bastard."
That was a great scene too. Like,
yeah, Priest shoots him from behind. And that was another M-bomb too. Like,
oh yeah,
Art LaFleur. Like,
that, and he was just randomly a really racist prison guard.
Yeah,
like none of the other prison staff seemed particularly racist.
Yeah, the sergeant was really racist, and so he was like,
"Oh yeah," he was like, I
can smell the N-word.
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh gosh,
oh jeez, is that true?"
So
is he like so racist that he can smell black people?
that's his supervillain power. He's just like, "Oh, I can tell the pheromones in the air that your Hawkins is here, Priest is here."
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, so definitely. Really, man, no splits.
Yeah,
no headbutts. Only one groin punch. Only one hit to the groin.
And it wasn't from.
It was a kick. I think
it wasn't from Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme didn't do it. No titular scenes.
Very
there was
little
the love
screaming.
interest.
Yeah, very awkward and shoehorned in love interest.
Yep, but that was it. So, like, on a skeleton Van Damme splits, what do you give it, man?
It's hard to rate it in a film in which he doesn't do the splits.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I would give it probably 7.5.
Wow. You're giving it a 7.5.
I am. I enjoyed it that much.
Wow.
If you're talking about quality of the film, I would probably give it 5.
I would do a director's cut on this film.
Yes.
And the first 5 minutes would be in it, and the last 10, 20 minutes would be in it.
So it'd just be running water and credits, and then the last 20 minutes?
And then the last 20 minutes, and that would be the film. And it would be a lot better. I am giving this 5 Van Damme splits. None of it didn't have any of our trademark stuff in it.
True. But what it didn't have, it made up for in not making any sense whatsoever.
Yes, yeah.
I never realized just how, like, willing to go out there on a premise for a film Jean-Claude Van Damme was.
I know,
like,
man. Yeah.
Like, he did really out there experimental stuff with his career.
He really did. He really did.
He wasn't afraid to do sci-fi, gritty crime drama or whatever. However the hell you would rate this film.
Like, everyone would be like, "Oh, action," and Van Damme's just thinking, "No, man, this is a sci-fi.
Yeah,
this one's a suspense, a thriller." It's kind of weird. It's even Lionheart. Oh, it's a drama. My brother. I'm coming to avenge my brother.
Yeah, and he could have just not done any back kicks in this movie, and it could have not, it might have possibly not been defined as an action film.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It really wouldn't have if he didn't do any back kicks. It really wouldn't.
Yeah,
have.
without the 2 fight. It had 3 fight scenes in it.
Yeah,
and the rest of the movie was all.
And it was all just
detective
suspense,
work
yeah.
and suspense and. None of it made any sense, but...
Right, exactly. The only thing that saved this from being a 4 for me was the acting chops.
Yes.
I give it 1 extra split for that. Because, everyone did a good job with the acting. Even Van Damme himself.
Yeah.
Actually did a good job with it. It wasn't terrible. And Sandman really was kind of the only downside with his acting. But
I think it was the lines more than the acting.
Well, exactly.
Because,
he did a good job being a serial killer.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
Yeah, he definitely looks the part. They definitely did their he's 6'5" at least. He's really tall, really menacing looking.
Yep,
has a very intimidating
his
intense
brow
stare.
Line looks intimidating with that stare. His bleached eyebrows.
Yeah, they bleached his eyebrows,
so it looks like he doesn't have any.
Yeah.
So but definitely on our Van Damme splits were a little bit different on this one. I think this is the first one where we're not really near each other.
1.5 split difference.
Yeah.
Well, 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
If I do my splits math correctly.
Yeah. Speaking of splits, how are you doing on your splits?
Oh, I'm doing them right now. If you'll look to your right.
What?
Not bad, right?
Oh my gosh, not bad for as much room as we have in here. Holy crap, man!
Yep. Thank you, pajama jeans.
That's pretty good. I'm not doing side by side right now. I'm actually doing front to back like cheerleader splits, just to show off.
It's nice.
So
it's a good view.
Thank you very much. Been working hard on this. So we have that, but normally I would be saying what we're going to be reviewing next, which if you look at Van Damme's filmography, the next movie is Double Impact from 1991, which I can't wait to watch that.
That is maybe my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie because it's 2 Van Dammes for the price of 1.
Exactly. It is absolutely awesome. Now, like I said, normally we would be doing this. However, if you recall, if you have been listening to, I believe it is episode 5, we reviewed Cyborg.
An amazing film.
And, it was episode 6. I'm sorry. Episode 6 was Cyborg. Anyway, if you listen to our Cyborg review, we made mention that we really wish there was a director's cut because it was so weird. And then we found out there was a director's cut, and it's called Slinger. I purchased Slinger, and so we are going to sit down. We are going to basically do a Jean Pod Van Dammecast half split and review Slinger instead. Basically,
man.
Cyborg with the original intentions of how it was supposed to be made.
The original vision.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
So we're going to do that. We're going to still, keep it. It's obviously Van Damme. It's still the same stuff, but I'm absolutely excited for this.
At some point, I'd like to do a side project where we do the sequels too.
Yes, dude.
One
Eventually,
sweet day.
it's definitely going to happen. All right, that's it. We appreciate you all listening to this very long review of Death Warrant. We hope you enjoyed it. We watched it, so you don't have to,
but you should.
You can find us all over the place under Pod Bros, and we haven't really made any social media for the Jean-Claude or the Jean Pod Van Dammecast. I still have yet to try to show this to Van Damme. I'm going to wait till we get a few more episodes out, and then, say, hey, Van Damme, put us on your crazy stalker list. If you like what we do, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/podbros. Please consider donating. That really helps us out more than you think. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to do that, but you shop on Amazon, please help us out that way. We have our Amazon link on our page. Just go to that, podbros.com, scroll down. Amazon's right there. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out in the long run. All right, I'm all done shilling. I am John.
And I am Jeff.
And you have been listening to another episode of the Jean Pod Van Dammecast. Now, bring me a dream, Burke. Bring me a dream.
Quiet!
Gene, secure the infirmary.
Well, look who we have here, huh?
Great. No, we have all the assholes in one room.
You've caused us a great deal of trouble, Detective Burke.
You scum.
Let me do it.
It's gonna be messy killing off an undercover officer.
Go ahead, dust him. Blow his fucking head off.
Oh!